All right, my friends, how are you today? Aaron here bringing you some honest astrology about the Capricorn full moon that we're having on Monday, June 29th at 7:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me show you the chart. Let's get right into it here. All right, so here's our sun in Cancer at 8 degrees. Across the way, we have the moon in Capricorn at 8 degrees. Of course, this is our opposition, the Cancer Capricorn parallel. This is, I think it's so interestingly different almost to anything else in the zodiac. I think the Cancer Capricorn and the Aquarius and Leo they're so dynamically different. I mean, this, right, Aries deals with self, and Libra in its simplistic forms deals with the other, and Taurus deals with this is like my material possessions, my goods, what I value, and this is what is ours, a shared resource is what we value. This would be my information here in Gemini, my personal knowledge and awareness. This would be collective knowledge that you have to travel to understand. Then we have Cancer was our emotions. And this is, as I always like to refer to it, as mom and pop shop. This is, small town, family oriented shop. And it's like if you're late or if something happens, you're probably not going to get canned, fired for, little slip ups, or if something happens, or if you have to call into work because you got a flat tire and you got to take care of that. Over across the way, Capricorn is big business. This is Wall Street. And whatever, it doesn't matter if I like you or not. It doesn't matter if I think you're a really swell person, if you're an amazing individual that has a lot to offer. But if you keep coming in late and you're costing the company time and money, it has nothing to do with my personal enjoyment and desire or like for you as a human being. Business wise, I just simply have to cut you off and let you go. And it has nothing to do with if I like you or not. And I think that's one of the most interesting aspects of the zodiac and the Capricorn energy is it gets put off as brash or cold, but it's straightforward and direct to the point, usually. So this energy is kind of direct to the point. Now, aside from our opposition, we'll just say it here. Let me come back. Now, Leo is our like our egos, and this is like community. So this would be like myself and the way that I walk, the way that I dress, and my style. And this would be the way that we interact in society. And then this deals with nature, and this deals with technology. So I think that's very, these two signs are very interesting in the balancing wheel of the zodiac. And then the Virgo is going to deal with, and this is really prevalent in this full moon, Virgo deals with like precise information. This is the helpers of the zodiac, but it's very precise information. It's not just a bunch of trees; those are apple trees, and this is a vineyard, a wine vineyard, and these are all grapes. And over here, this is less analytical and more about belief and creativity. And over here, this is like I'm me and mine and I, and over here is like, yeah, but we're all connected. Okay. Aside from our sun moon opposition, where our Cancer sun is illuminating. Now the sun is ruled by Leo. This is our egos, our deep personalities, the stuff that makes you walk how you walk and dress how you dress, and this is your solar plexus, your energy, the life that you bring to the party. That's the sun energy. And in Cancer, it's saying be more compassionate, be more forgiving, kind of like this Pisces energy. And as you see, there is a trine happening between the sun and the North Node in Pisces. And Pisces is all about forgiveness. Turn the other cheek. That's the Piscean, Jesus is, I'm not a believer of the individual person, but the teachings come from Piscean belief in the age of Pisces. And it's this turn the other cheek, thou who hasn't sinned, cast the first stone. And that's where this plays so importantly in our Cancer full moon, because that Capricorn energy can become extremely brittle, brutal, cold, sharp, cutting. This Cancer energy wants to be warm, friendly, inviting, compassionate, forgiving, nurturing. And you see, these have a very hard time, like this opposition, because one wants to be one way, the other wants to be, it's like, I completely see how you add value to this company. I completely see, however, you cost us thousands and thousands of dollars, I got to let you go. But, then there's like the human experience that says, well, if I let Ted, Tim, Jane, Janet go, and we replace them with Bob, Steve, Sue, whatever, we might run into the same problems with Bob, Steve, and Sue as we did with Janet, Joe, and Tim, whatever. You get it. So there's a bit of education that we have to move forward. And this deals with all aspects of life. And especially as we have Saturn here in Aries saying you have to be the leader. You have to be the one in charge of your life. There is no authority higher than you. Truly, like there's people that have, right, the doctor has a degree, the police officer has his, they're authoritarians in the sense that they have gone through some sort of training to get where they are in an education level. But, there's no one above or below anyone else in this world. It's just a perceived internal concept. So either way, you are the one responsible for your life. You're the one responsible for, if you're not happy with the food, grow your own food, do what you can. If you're not happy with something, fix it, figure it out in your life. Jump over the hurdles, knock down the barricades, whatever it is. You are the person that's in charge of you can hold your breath until you pass out, or you can continue to breathe and put one foot in front of another and, move forward with life. So there's this intense energy of like, you are behind the driver's seat, and where you end up is solely on you and has nothing to do with the outside world and the conditions of the outside world. And being compassionate for people is important, and taking those steps to educate. Now, this is Mars in Gemini with Uranus freshly in Gemini. It takes 84 years for Uranus to go around. So this is the first time in 84 years that we've had Uranus in Gemini, and that's breakthrough information coming extraordinarily fast. And we have Mars is the little helper of Pluto. It's the higher octave. These are, right, so Pluto is active transformation, Mars is action, Mercury is information, and, it's Uranus is breakthrough information, Venus is love, want, and desires, and then we have Neptune is the octave of that. That's like infinite, there's no, you can't put a scale on love. There's no way to measure love, how much I appreciate or love you, or how much I love astrology or something like that, how much you love your animal. Or your children or your partner. There's literally no way to measure that, at least that we have scientifically right now, or how someone feels, these emotions, right? These are things that are untangible, regardless of science and technology, our advancements we get. Either way, so we have Mars saying take action, and Gemini is saying communicate. Take action in your communication. Because if we are standing in this spot like, well, I need somebody to help me with my business, I need someone to work with me, but I keep, I'm having these emotional rigidity, and I'm running into this issue with X, Y, or Z, or this person, and I want to cut them off. The part of that, again, is like when we're cutting somebody off without that communication, without the expressing our words. Our tongue, our mouths are the most powerful tool that we have in life. I mean, a hug is wonderful, making love is wonderful, but our mouths are the most powerful tool that we have. And with our mouths, with our tongues, and the ability to communicate with the outside world, we can turn an unfavorable situation into peace. We can turn a lack of understanding or confusion into groundedness and understanding. We can calm a situation down with our words. We can. There's a lot. I mean, you get it. I don't need to keep emphasizing that, but there's so much that we can do with our words. And do we want to just keep replacing people and say, oh, they don't live up to my standard? Capricorn is a very high standard. It is the highest standard of all of is like public image and your career, right? It's the goat gets to the top of the mountain. This is the highest arcana in astrology land. Now, that's not saying above or below any other sign, but it's like, that's what it deals with. It's big business. It's how you're perceived in the social world and your status quo. And it's like people, right, I like what I like, I want what I want, and iron sharpens iron. So if I'm going to be hiring people that are dulling my blade, that doesn't really work for me as business. And then if I am in a complacent place where I'm not making a decision to cut something off, and if I'm hemming and hawing over it, and I keep dulling my blade. Now, there's not a direct answer here for you to cut somebody off or to be compassionate with them. Oh, hi, cat. Chippy's going to say hi. Okay. So there's not a direct answer for me to give to you to saying to cut somebody off or give them another chance. Because let me show you this here in the chart again. If you can see this north node making that trine over here to the sun, okay? Everything about this is about compassion and forgiveness and a nurturing energy and an understanding. Like, I'm going to listen to you. Even, Mike could be fuming or whatever. You could be fuming about this person, but you're going to give them that patience to listen and calm waters to see the reflection properly. And we have Mercury retrograde right now. Station retrograde, and it's going to be retrograde for the next couple of weeks, obviously. Retrogrades 3 times a year, every 88 days in the sign of Cancer. So this means emotionally. Now, let me try to simplify this. When the antenna gets too close, it's hard. When you're in a music festival or like Walt Disney World or Cedar Point, something like that, these phones, the antenna, there's so much going on that they don't work anymore, or they don't work as good. When your car gets too close to the radio tower, even though the signal's right there and it's a huge radio tower, it actually has an interference problem. And I'm an audio engineer. The same thing happens with me and my gear. I can be hundreds of feet away from the talent that I have a mic pack on, but if I get too close to them, the signal actually jams up and I have RF issues, RF radio frequencies, and that's going through the air. Course, that's going to be Pluto transforming what's happening in the air, and Mars and Uranus and Gemini. This is all stuff happening in air. This is why in TV we say you're live on air, or on the radio you're live on air, because these travel through the airwaves. All right, so very, very fast information. Things are changing at a rapid pace. It's up to us to communicate with the other person. It's our duty, our due diligence, our responsibility to communicate. And at the same time, that's the beauty of astrology, is its paradoxes. So let me show you this. At the same time, friends, we have our moon in Capricorn. We have a trine down here to Chiron that just entered Taurus. And we have a trine happening here to the south node in Virgo. Now, everything about these is letting go. These energies let go of the analytical behavior, let go of an analytical mindset that what you have in your brain is right and that others are wrong, right? The North Node is saying lean into this place of like belief, have faith that the universe is working out all right. It's like there's this, when we look at something a little bit too closely, if we look at winter transitioning into spring and summer, we could freak out that the snow's melting, right? People do it all the time because the polar ice caps are melting. Yet for some reason, when we look at the Roman baths that are at sea level, they've maintained sea level for thousands of years. There is no sea level that I'm aware of that's really, really rising. But those polar caps are melting because our Earth is on this slow tilt and wobble, right? 25,920 years. Almost 26,000 years for the great year for that wobble. So of course it's going to melt and then freeze again and then melt and then freeze again. And that's what's happening in our nature. We're entering in the northern hemisphere, we're entering our summer season. So things are hot. The snow is melted. And then of course naturally summer's going to be over, and then the snow and the cold will come back again. And if we're not aware of these bigger cycles and we look too minutely at these smaller cycles, then we're going to freak out thinking that the sun or that Earth is drifting away from the sun and that it's just getting colder and colder and colder, and we're going to be going off into the abyss of space, and we're all going to freeze to death and die. But we know through the repeatable evidence of the observable universe that our planet orbits the sun, and we watch the analemma come up and down, the little figure eight in the sky, as the sun, or rather the Earth, moves through these 12 signs of the zodiac. And this is a repeatable, loopable pattern. So that's a lot that we're letting go. We're letting go. Coming back here again, we're letting go of analytical ideas. We're coming more into belief and faith, right? We're having faith that winter's going to come again. I just watched the TV show Vikings, and they had this stating in there, summer's only great because we know winter's coming. And that's, let me come back for a second. That's kind of how it is sometimes in life, right? Like, summer is brutally hot sometimes. It's brutally hot. And then the ease of winter, it makes it more palatable. And we're always looking for this next thing, but it's constantly changing and it's constantly balancing itself out. The tree has no issues in Virgo season. The tree has no issues of letting its branch go. Now, this is going to get into Chiron and Taurus. This is the first time Chiron's been in Taurus in a long time. I don't remember how long it takes, 80 some years, I believe, for Chiron to go around. Don't quote me, please, because I don't have that in front of my face right now. It takes a long time. So Chiron's moved from Aries into Taurus. Now, this is a big deal. Chiron is a big deal, and Chiron can be looked at as a couple different ways. Chiron is the wounded healer. It's similar to the Sagittarius, half horse body and man. The man body with the man top with the horse body, Minotaur, and got his foot caught in a Minotaur trap, a bear trap, and hurt his ankle. So he became this wonderful healer, learned all of these ways to heal, so then he could go back and heal other people, but he could never learn to heal himself. That's the mythology behind Chiron. Now, when Chiron was in Aries, again, this is a double-edged sword, friends. When Chiron's in Aries, this is about self. Now, if you listen to Carl Jung, if you read Carl Jung's books at all, he talks about like the helper. Now, when we insert ourselves in other people's lives and we want to help, we do it for self-validation. We don't always do it because we want to really help somebody. We do it because we feel good about ourselves by inserting ourselves into a scenario that we can add, or that we feel like we could add value to. And there's, like something like, if you look on YouTube, Not About the Nail, it's not about the nail. This lady's got a nail stuck in her forehead, and the guy just wants to help her fix it, wants to help take the nail out. She just wants to talk about the issue. She just wants to talk about what she's feeling. And with this Capricorn Cancer energy, there's a lot about feelings, and there's also a lot about action. If you're unpleased with something, you have to take the actions in order to make that change. But there's some people that just want to fix everything, and it's a good practice if someone is venting, if someone is getting something, unloading, getting something off of their chest, which there's a lot of this energy going on this month, especially with Mercury retrograde, with this trine to the moon, Chiron in the South Node. We are simply letting go. We're letting go of the branch that we've grown for years and years of our lives, and we have to cut it off. And just like the earth sign, it cannot be emotional. We can't hem and haw and say, oh, but I loved that branch so much, and all the memories with that branch. And this is where we become stagnant in this Cancer Capricorn energy, or we go back to an unhealthy relationship. That relationship could be with substances, that could be a habit, that could be a daily routine, which is a habit, that could be with people. And we're like, oh, but I love them. And it's just like, it's like the snake wrapping, the snake wrapping around the knife. I don't know if that's the best analogy. It's like the snake wraps around the knife, or the snake goes over the knife, the snake gets cut by the knife, so then now the snake starts to wrap around it to show its dominance, and then it squeezes, but it just ends up slicing itself up. It ends up hurting itself to prove its worth, to prove that it's stronger than the knife or whatever. And it's just like, we have to be able to walk away before we injure ourselves, before we hurt ourselves, before we are causing scar tissue on our heart and our mind that we can't get rid of. And that's real. You know what I'm talking about. We can enter situations with people, and we love people. We want to love people. We want to give people a chance. Another aspect of Chiron that's been in Aries for many, many years, and with the North Node in Pisces, with Neptune moving out of Pisces, with Saturn moving out of Pisces, sometimes we don't see the world how it is. We see the world how we want it to be through our eyes. Sometimes we see through rose-tinted glasses, and we want to give chances to other people when they don't deserve them. And we say, God, but they have these qualities. Right? This is this Cancer Capricorn energy. They have these qualities that make them such a great person, and they can when they really apply themselves, they're a really great worker. And then they continuously, again and again and again, do the same behavior, same patterns. They keep screwing up in the same ways, or letting you down, or the business down, or in the same ways again and again and again. But you see their potential. And if they only did this is part of Chiron, and it's moving from Aries into Taurus, that we have to let go of. We have to let go of just this one of we see the best in other people, so we assume that they're going to live up to that, and we ignore their like faults. I hope that came off right. Another aspect of Chiron now moving into Taurus is not filling the void with material goods, which, depending on the age you grew up, and if your parents, grandparents lived through the Great Depression, a lot of people became hoarders of goods and material possessions. And you didn't know when you're going to have, like, a lot of people. I mean, I hear stories all the time from my grandparents and from my parents telling me stories of how, like, they had one Sunday's best, one suit, one dress that they would wear every Sunday, one suit that they would wear every day of the week. You'd have to get it cleaned a lot, but it's like, we have an abundance of material goods, and we have an abundance of material things right now. And those material things don't always make us happy. This is another aspect to this full moon and to this trine that's going on. We'll come back here. Do material goods really make you happy? We need to let go of this idea that when I'm sad, I need to buy myself this little trinket, this little toy, this little thing to bring me pleasure, and this little feel-good dopamine hit that I get from it, that in a week I really won't care about. If it doesn't truly bring you great value, do you really need it? Is this temporary value? Is this temporary fixing a hole? Why do we value what we value? I got into this very interesting conversation yesterday about, like, diamond rings and De Beers and cubic zirconian and the cut of them, and what is the material possession? What is the material value? And is the ring worth more than the relationship? These are just interesting things of our society, that our society has moved toward, that we're here in 26. It just always wasn't this way. And this ring is part of status quo. And how do I emotionally feel when other people see the ring on my finger? And do I need to let go of judgments from other people because I have a smaller ring that's a perfect diamond, that's untreated and but other people will judge it and see it's just a small ring. Can I give this to my partner and she appreciate it? Right? There's all kinds of little things. So there's letting go of these material possessions, or these ideas that material possessions are going to bring me joy, or a status symbol, or once I get the car, then I'll move up and people will see me and see who I am, is a lie. It's a lie that we're telling ourselves. It's just a lie that we're telling ourselves. And what is that old expression? Like, we purchase things, we spend money on, for strangers. Hold on. What is that expression? think you know what I'm saying. Like, write it in the comments. I spend money on things to impress people I don't know. Something like that. You get it. But that's kind of the energy here. And it's just like, do I need this? Do I need to fit in? Do I care about fitting in? If I don't fit in, are these people not my friends? If I get the Uggs and the clothes and the right summer wear, and I'm in the yoga community, so I have to wear yoga garb, I think it's stupid. Like, I can't stand it, to be perfectly honest. Like, sure, some people look really nice, or like the festival, there's like whole festival clothes. And it's just like, if I don't have my festy outfit, will I be respected? Will I be acknowledged? Right? We're dealing with all of these emotions, and we're rewiring our brain. Like, this is a really big full moon. This is a really big full moon. I don't know if I'm expressing that enough. This is a really, like, energetically, this is a very big deal. We have so much shifts happening to bring us to this point of, like, how we view ourselves in our career, how we view our emotions, how we view the things that we surround ourselves with, material goods and joy. My mindset of belief or complaining a lot. And it's like letting go of complaining. It's like, it's not doing anything for you. I have a Instagram. I try to post just like little positive things all the time, but one of them, it's Vyumkie, Veeyumkie. If you're interested in following me on social media, I post some astrology stuff, but just flowers and just things that bring me joy. I post a lot of like complaining. Complaining is a temporary feel good that really alters your brain in a very negative way. And talking about regurgitating stuff. I do these ayahuasca ceremonies, and one of the things we say is you don't have to eat your vomit at the end. And complaining is kind of like that. It's like something happened that you're unpleased with. You're making the changes and the moves. You're molding yourself as the Play-Doh that you are, and molding the life. Like, that's just something that happened. But we're remolding our lives, and we're adjusting our sails appropriately to the winds of life so that we can go in the directions that we need to. And just because we didn't get any fish over here or had a bad experience at this market, our ship sails on. Our life continues. We're not that story. We don't have to repeat the story of what happened to us at this one point in time in life. We don't have to repeat that story that this is, Dr. Joe Dispenza is great about it. It's like this experience can create a bad mood. A bad mood can become a behavior. A behavior can become a personality trait. And if we're not careful, and especially if we're swimming in these crowds, and these crowds have these strong gravity, and we don't have enough discernment with ourselves, and we're not strong in our own convictions and our own beliefs and what we're going to tolerate, not tolerate. And people just want to complain about the world, complain about politics, complain about the left, complain about the right, complain about how the world isn't how they expect it to be. This is the wake-up call. This is Mars coming to Uranus in Gemini. Like, you are the person that gets to control your speech. This is the most powerful tool that we have in our arsenal. The most powerful weapon, the most powerful thing is our mouths to communicate with the outside world, and our minds. And we can change our minds when we use communication. And if we give ourselves the opportunity to, I read somebody's chart the other day, very closed off. It was just a random meeting of somebody, and we started talking, and we were talking about astrology, and they're very like, well, you're not really an astrologer. And there was just like, yeah, I really am. And then they said it like 6 times to where I didn't even want to engage with them anymore. Like, why do I have to keep convincing you? And they're like, okay, well, now read the chart. And it's just like, all right, so you're going to, it's kind of funny, like, perform for me. Like, I don't believe you. You have to now do this to prove it. I was having fun. And I engaged with this individual. And as I read the chart, it's just like, you're doing the thing right now that your chart is telling you. You have to open your mind and not be so closed off to believing that you can have new experiences. And these new experiences can change your mind, can open your mind, can open up to new possibilities to receive new information. This new information can change my feelings toward a situation. I can change my observation to the world. And if I've been stuck thinking in my thinking of negativity or negative patterns, this is the most amazing opportunity astrologically that we've had in a while to change how our brains are working, to rewire the neural net of our brains, positivity and being thankful. I started this, it never really took off, but I started this thing on Facebook years ago called Today I'm Thankful. And it was supposed to be like a community group thing, but Facebook has so many weird groups that it didn't really work out, like weird group things to picking what kind of platform it is. Anyway, it was supposed to just say, like, write 3 things you're thankful for. Like, go out of your way and write 3 things on this page that you're thankful for, or 1 thing. And then you can see what other people are thankful for as well. I think I set the group up wrong. But either way, doing something like that, you don't have to do it socially. You can do it just writing something down that you're thankful for right now in life. And not like, oh, when this changes, I can finally be happy. Or when I meet this person, or when I get this job, or when I get this. It's like life is literally passing you by. Beautiful moments are passing you by as you're waiting for that thing. You know, so having an attitude of gratitude, being thankful, is such a huge aspect right now, partially for changing our minds, for letting go of the Virgo energy. I'll come back to the chart as we wrap it up. You know, we're letting go of this like over analytical thinking. We're forgiving. Forgiveness is big, especially in that world of politics. I don't want to talk about it, but we got to forgive everybody. I'm not left or right, but that's just how the world is. We have to be some sort of compassionate and awareness and forgiveness. We have to let go. We have to let go this needing for wanting to help in situations that we can't help. We have to know what is within our abilities. What have you mastered in your life? What is within your reach? You know, the goat can climb the mountains. These specific animals can climb these mountains. A dolphin cannot climb a mountain. It's just physically impossible. A dolphin cannot help here. It doesn't matter how much the dolphin wants to help and be of assistance. It simply can't climb that mountain. It's just a really funny image I'm getting in my head now. You know, this Cancer sun over here to the North Node, which we, very limited time here with this access of like, lean into forgiveness, my friends. Lean into the idea that you don't have the whole world figured out. You don't have life figured out. And the more that we are students of this world and always kind of take this approach of I'm always learning, and I'm going to use my voice, and what I don't know, I'm going to ask questions so that I can learn, so that I can expand. Jupiter here at its last days in Cancer. This is an overwhelming amount of emotions, and Jupiter's about to leave into Leo, and we'll talk about that when it does. But at the 29th degree right now, that means for this illumination, this full moon, and this next 2 weeks coming up, this Jupiter in Cancer energy is real. So that means emotions are heightened. Mercury retrograde, the signals kind of jammed, communication, we might not understand things. This does not mean, I'm going to come back here. This does not mean you cannot start a new relationship. This does not mean you can't start a new job. Mercury retrograde does not mean you have to stop everything. And sometimes the astrologers that say that, like, it's just not real. All of us astrologers, the tarot readers, we still deliver a message just the same. I'm not concerned that I should not deliver an astrology message, or just because Mercury is retrograde, or I shouldn't do this thing, because it just means take a little bit more time. Take a little bit more time and maybe read it twice before you respond. That's a big one right now, because we can have misunderstandings. And those misunderstandings, we might have an emotional reaction to a misunderstanding because we read something too fast. We could respond to a text, and then all of a sudden, that's right, this could be for our work, or respond to an email or a text that we misunderstood. And now we let our emotions, it's like taking our colostomy bag and just slapping it on the table or slapping it on the desk at work in a business meeting. It's inappropriate. It doesn't matter if Jane, Steve, Bob, and Susie did it before, it's inappropriate. It's inappropriate to have emotional outbursts and just throw them on the table. And that's if it's business, that's if it's your friends, that's if it's your partner. There is a responsibility to trauma dumping. There's a responsibility to emotional dumping. And if we're having an emotional reaction because, again, Mercury retrograde, Jupiter heightened energy, this Cancer energy right now, there's just getting into the summer, things are hot, things are shifting. So if we don't take the time and slow down a little bit, we can hurt our public image. We can hurt our career. We can hurt how people view us by saying something too hastily or not checking in with the emotional aspect of that first. If you're going to fight with somebody this month, fight like family, not like enemies. Okay? Fight like family, not like enemies. Fight like you actually love that person, not like they're an enemy that you're just going to say whatever you want to with a silver sharp tongue. Again, Uranus, Mars in Gemini, Mercury retrograde, heightened emotions, public image, a lot of letting go kind of energy. So maybe let go of the impatience and take that breath, take that beat. All right. And of course, Saturn here kind of creating a little square to our sun and to our moon, and which is like that self-check that we're talking about right now. Check yourself. If you're acting too fast, you're going to make yourself look weak. Saturn is like this authoritarian, the big papa, the military, the militant general. And it's like, you better think about your actions. You better not be too hasty, because it will have an effect on everything this month. All right, friends, that's a lot going on. I love you. I wish you enough. And we'll see you next time. Happy full mooning.